which are not out yet. And then something that is very, very true, because Adam went to Switzerland to see it in person. Logitech G Superstrike. There was an event out in Switzerland. That's why Adam was gone for a little while. Review, content is coming up, but tell us what this means for gamers. Obviously, that was in the thumbnail, and you have a lot more information because you went hands-on. So tell us what we're missing and what we can expect from Logitech.
Yeah, so basically, like you said, I flew out to Lucerne in Switzerland for the Logitech G Inside event, and that's where we learned all about the upcoming mouse, which actually releases tomorrow. It's been around for a while. It's already been announced, but it's only been in the hands of professional gamers doing esports tournaments and things. So basically, it's the Logitech G Pro X2 Superstrike is the full name, but we're just going to call it the Superstrike. And it's a very interesting, potentially revolutionary product. And that sounds a bit hyperbolic. I mean, a lot of companies will claim that, but the interesting thing about this mouse is it uses a new technology called HITS, and that stands for Haptic Inductive Trigger System. So unlike a traditional mouse, which uses mechanical micro switches, and you basically just press down and up, you can feel it clicking, the Superstrike uses a magnetic system, which basically can be adjusted inside the mouse. So basically, when you press, you can get a much faster registration with each click. That then basically translates to firing your shot quicker in a game, the game registering those inputs faster. And they were showing us all these amazing stats, which show that even for non-pros, because obviously this is still designed primarily to give esports players an edge, but because you can click so much faster and the response from the game's quicker, casual gamers like myself, I'd say I'm hardcore, but I'm casual in terms of competitive gaming. You get a massive advantage. It really does help you. I can't really talk about how I feel about the mouse yet. I've been using it extensively, playing Counter-Strike 2 at home. Can't say if I like it or love it yet. You'll have to wait for that. But the technology itself is really exciting. As you can see in this video, I also got toured around the Logitech G Labs, which was super fascinating. You see how they calibrate tracking. They use like robots to basically recreate moves that humans couldn't do consistently. In terms of keeping the signal in busy environments like LAN tournaments, they have these amazing like foam padded chambers, which basically put the RF signal through its paces and make sure that when you're playing competitive, you're not going to lose it. Another innovation was when they originally announced the Superstrike, it was about 65 grams, they said in the press release. They've actually got that all the way down to 61 grams, doing crazy things such as like using different coating on a couple of the screws and changing the motherboard. Also got to see some of the design process at Logitech, which is really cool, just even using organic materials. And then this shot right here, can anyone guess what that is, guys? Any guesses? That's the first mouse Logitech ever made.
Oh, wow. Little history.
So we saw where they started and now where they've come to. And yeah, the Superstrike, if you're a pro gamer, if you're just a casual gamer, it's got real potential. I look forward to talking about it a bit more openly soon. But it was a really great event. And it was, I think what really struck me is the Logitech's team. Yes, they were there obviously to promote a new product, but you could tell how excited and passionate they were about this particular project. So much so that they showed us footage of the esports players testing it, and then they're just candid reactions to it, like nothing scripted or pushed. And you could tell the pros were like, this is something different. And when you try it yourself, it's odd because it is different. But once you get used to it, yeah, it's got real potential. And as you can see in this shot, there's all Logitech's products. They've got loads of products. We learn about the ergonomics, just everything that goes into something like creating a device like this.
So this is meant for gamers, right? Is it going to help me with my spreadsheets, right?
It will. It technically will, because one, the tracking on it is perfection. The feel is the same as the Logitech G Pro. So they kept the ergonomics, which everyone loved. Super light, which is great for fatigue. And actually, it was quite interesting. One of the basic developers there, he has a problem with his hand where he doesn't have much feeling in his hand. And the actual haptics, when you press down and you get that feedback, he said actually helps him like with accessibility as well. So it's primarily like an esports mouse. Yes, it's for the sweaty people who want to, make sure they've got that advantage when playing online. But I've been using it for general office work, and it's a dream, to be honest.
That's good. I use a Logitech mouse, the MX4, which is, definitely for multimedia use. So I'm interested in trying this out as soon as you're done with it, and maybe we'll get one in the New York office, because it does look good, and that precision tracking is probably, it looks like a leap ahead of what else is out there from companies like Razer, and now Sony's making accessories like this. So it's just interesting to see what they're doing for like the gaming community. So love to see that. And you said you'll have more content tomorrow?
Yes, I'm going to technically work really, really hard into the night, probably.
Yeah, no sleeping, please.
Matt always loves to hear, and I'll have a review up of the mouse shortly on the shortcut.
Love that. Love the long-term testing that you're giving it day in and day out. And thanks for going to Switzerland for that. You were missing for a couple of days. Everybody thought you were fired, and that wasn't the case. Once again, we only fire Kevin.
Abducted him. I was just guessing. I was like, oh, he's just off having more tea and crumpets with the king. But
no, it was
King of Switzerland. Turns out he was doing work.
It was nice to get out the home office. I've never been to Switzerland, which was the case for a lot of people I met actually at the event. It seemed to be like a first time thing for a lot of people there. Beautiful country. I said, wow, what a country. It's beautiful. Like you've got the mountains all around you. You can just, it's really nice, really clean, quite expensive, but you seem to get the benefit with nice clean streets. We also went to the Olympic Museum at the end, which was, not really anything to do with the Superstrike mouse or whatever. But yeah, that was really cool, really nice. If you're into the Olympics, seeing all the medals and all the outfits and blah blah blah.
Yeah, we have Jason Million in the comments saying, glad to see this finally coming out. Feels like I checked this mouse out probably at a similar press event, because Kevin was saying this a while ago, that we had a mouse preview that I guess this was under a long-term embargo, but we finally get some hands-on time, and Adam gets to have it in hand. So very cool. Jason, you cost me $1, so next time I see you, beer's on you, buddy. Just kidding.
We also had another comment where someone else chimed in on their favorite Logitech mouse. Another $1. Thank you.
There.
He said his favorite was the Logitech G502, which is a mouse so beloved they actually brought it back and revived it since like the 1990s or early 2000s rather. Yeah.
Bill Straight on the YouTube chat. So we love seeing the YouTube chat on people commenting on X, on Instagram. We're live on all those platforms. Do you guys have info of when the new PSSR 2 will drop for the PS5 Pro? We'll tackle that in the upcoming PS5 section, or PS6 rumors section, as it were, right after this next story. So stay tuned for that very soon. We'll insert that into our rundown. The Ferrari electric car is our next story. Has an interior designed by none other than Johnny Ive of Apple design fame. And Max, tell us about this electric car. Should I care about it? It is a Ferrari, so already
it is a Ferrari.
It's
within our budget. It's within Matt's budget.
Yeah. That's where our dollars are going, really.
100%. Yeah, the interest on these dollars, absolutely. So tell us about this Ferrari, Max. It's by Johnny Ive.
Yeah, it's a super interesting one. So, excuse me. They've been working on an electric car for, gosh, I don't even know for how long. Ferrari's always like working on like super advanced technology with their new supercars and everything. So they wanted to build one that's like all electric. They want to make it super modern, but like still sort of keep in touch with the Ferrari design philosophy. So they had Love From, which is Johnny Ive's creative company. They design like super beautiful things. Like he used to design at Apple, using like the same inspiration that he had for Apple products. Takes it to other companies, and now we have the Ferrari Luce, which I believe is Italian for light or something like that. And so with the Luce interior, you're getting what looks like this just looks like an Apple car. like the way that like there's all the circles everywhere, all of like the intricate buttons, the switches, the glass everywhere. There's aluminum everywhere. I'm sorry, aluminium everywhere. You can
As Johnny would approve of you saying it that way. Yeah,
Exactly.
sure.
Yeah, the only
Exactly,
way
yeah.
to say it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of OLED screens, as you can see. The cluster in the back, all OLED screens. There's a bunch of like fun knobs and everything everywhere. Like this looks like a really well designed car. Like this is one of the most beautiful interiors I've ever seen. Like it
Wow.
is stunning to look at.
It's kind of like a retro futuristic tablet, kind of like the
Yeah, a little bit.
60s style architect.
Yeah,
Art Deco,
no,
but-
exactly. It's almost like Fantastic Four, sort of
Yes.
like it's in
Yeah,
that
100%.
like design vein a little bit.
Mhm.
The key, which everybody's kind of raving about online, has an e-ink screen in it. So when you dock the key in like the center console to start the car, the e-ink sort of fades out and it like seeps into the car, and then it like the yellow ink bleeds into the OLED screens.
Wow.
So like they describe it as like a transfer of life from the
Mhm.
key to the car, which I find like too philosophical, but like it's a Ferrari, so you can be that philosophical.
That's pretty sick.
It's very like they just there's something in there for almost everybody. Like if you love like just beautiful design, you have that. If you're a tech guy and you just want to like see cool shit, that's what you're getting here. This the e-ink screen on the key, I feel like it's just like such an excess feature, but it looks so sick.
What I really like about this design as well is it's so refreshing to see all these switches and knobs and dials and things, which, we're used to now seeing cars with just like a massive touch screen, which is nice and
Exactly.
all because you get loads of functionality, but this seems like a really nice, delicate dance between the two. You've got that physical feel, the tactile. I love like flicking a switch, but then you've also got all the modern sensibilities that touchscreens can bring you. So it looks, I'm going to be honest, guys. I think I'm going to go out and buy one. I think it's that appealing.
So
that
from
I'm
the
gonna-
budget.
Yeah, why not?
I'm going to reevaluate what we're paying Adam now.
Wow.
Jeez.
I
But
wish.
no, it was either that or Adam, you haven't pre-ordered it yet. What are you doing? You're going to be left behind.
Well, if it, unlike the fold, which comes with the power brick, this has to come with something else to justify the price, like maybe a charging cable if it's included.
Sure.
Then I'll pre-order.
I
Right.
think it comes with a cheat charger, probably. That's worth there
Just hope
already.
that it doesn't cost more to like get the seats lined with leather. Like if they just come with leather seats, I'm sold. I'm just gonna buy this car like tomorrow.
Look at
Uh,
it. So
I-
nice.
It's a really cool car.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is where Apple's innovation has gone? Because this looks like a designer's dream, right? Something that, Johnny Ive can pull off. Johnny Ive has not been in Apple for several years. And some of the accusations are that Apple has been a little bit stagnant on design. Is this proof that losing Johnny Ive over at Apple was a bigger deal than people let on?
100%. I feel like this is a really good example of what the Project Titan Apple car could have been. Like Johnny Ive, when he was at Apple, had to be working on this car, right? He had to be working on whatever this mysterious Apple vehicle, this EV that they were always said to be building. He had to be working on it himself. So he probably, I mean, I don't know for sure if any of the design cues in the new Ferrari Luce are from the rumored Apple car before it got canceled. It definitely looks like it, even with like the fonts. Like the fonts look so similar to the whatever the Apple Pro font is, like that they use for the marketing, the iPhone Pro. And
I
the
think it's
Apple
called
Watch
San
Ultra.
Francisco.
Is it
Yeah.
San Francisco? It's like
Yeah,
it has
that's
like
their
more
font.
like of like an angular sort of design than just the more sans serif, I guess we're all used to seeing on our Macs.
Mhm.
No, like I think losing Johnny Ive, you do kind of lose this attention to detail and like this drive to, introduce crazy designs. Like Apple just did that for the first time in years with the iPhone Air, and it's like a non-practical product. Like you can't like it's pretty to look at, but it doesn't do very much.
Mhm.
Like Johnny Ive was sort of leading the charge on that and still making things somewhat practical to use at Apple. And now that he's gone, you get like super thick phones and just like chunky laptops that sell. There's no doubt that they sell, but the design inspiration and the like they're not pushing that forward, I don't think, with design and technology. And so Johnny Ive's just out here doing stuff for everybody else, and we get cool cars like this. And looks like we have a comment about the Sony Afeela. I did see this one come in. Sony and Honda are going with the Afeela with the PlayStation style, and Ferrari with the Apple style, which is pretty cool. We are starting to see like consumer technology sort of infiltrating the car, which I feel like is it's about time. It's about time. Like we've needed an upgrade in our everyday vehicles for quite some time now.
Absolutely. No, yeah. Getting the tech companies into the more than just, the dash, right? Where you have the entertainment console. They're having them be a part of the rest of the car is now, I guess, a new trend. As Jose mentions, with Sony and Honda collaborating on Afeela, as we called it for headline purposes, the PlayStation car, because you can play your PlayStation games inside of the car. Definitely a cool merger of car brands and tech brands. And so, although not officially an Apple car, does have some of that DNA thanks to Johnny Ive in this Ferrari electric car. Like you said, they've been working on it for a long, long time. And it's good to see that they're not just putting a giant touchscreen in the car. Lots of knobs, lots of tactile functions. Love to see that.
It's a big relief for a lot of people, because I know nowadays everyone's sort of tired of the Tesla aesthetic, which is like the huge tablet on your dashboard. Nobody likes, like, everyone wants to just like turn up the air, or like, make the car a little bit warmer by turning a knob or like flicking a switch on something. People want that tactile feel. This blends all of that together in such a beautiful way. It's so stunning. I can't wait to check it out in person at some point.
Absolutely. Hands-on event, hopefully one day,
or
maybe
at least the New York Auto Show, hopefully.
Right. Going to another actual Apple story, actually two of them. Mark Gurman says the iPhone 17e is launching soon, along with an updated iPad and OLED iPad Air. This was kind of rumored last week as well, in that, within under 2 weeks, so maybe a little bit less time now because it's been a couple days that we talked about this. Gurman is expecting the basically iPhone SE equivalent. Last year was the iPhone 16e. The iPhone S17e is going to launch with the A19 and MagSafe, which was sorely missing with the 16e. So that's the big update. Max, fill us in on these details that Gurman came out with over the weekend, usually in his Power On newsletter, and also he had some MacBook details in there.
Yeah, so we had heard about the iPhone 17e last week. It kind of like came out of sort of nowhere, where rumor came up that Apple's going to announce it and release it on February 19th. We hadn't heard very much in the way of the iPhone 17e up until then. So it was like a bit just out of left field. Like, I couldn't quite tell if we could trust that source or not. Gurman is now corroborating that whole thing. He's like, guys, this is actually going to happen. He said imminently it's going to launch, so I imagine that could be February 19th. He also mentioned the upgraded base iPad, which is going to get the A18 chip and probably 8 gigs of RAM to support Apple Intelligence. That's another thing that we saw leaked last week. He's saying that's definitely going to happen. It also seems like the iPad Air is going to get an upgrade with an OLED screen. I don't like, where the hell did that come from? I thought we were just focusing on the iPad Pro with the OLED and then the iPad Mini. It looks like iPad Airs.
Yeah, that's something not even iPad Air has.
Yeah. No, they've been doing LCD for the iPad Air for so long. I thought that was going to go to Mini LED before OLED, but it looks like they're just going to switch everything over to OLED.
That's going to be quite the upgrade. And then, all right, tell us about the MacBooks, because I've been following this closely with the M5.
Yeah, so it looks like the MacBooks are probably going to show up on March 2nd. That's the purported date right now. Just very simple upgrade, M5 Pro, M5 Max chip, which I'm hearing could be the same chip. They might wind up merging them. Not really sure about that. For now, we're sticking with M5 Pro and M5 Max. 2 different tiers. That's going to be the only upgrade. We don't expect to see any big storage bumps, any big RAM increases or anything like that. Probably the same pricing, same design, same mini LED screens. The bigger upgrade, like we've been saying for the past few weeks, is going to come later this year with the OLED MacBook Pro. Touchscreen, thinner design, all sorts of new bells and whistles. But everyone's waiting for the M5 Pro and M5 Max chips. Looks like they're going to come right at the beginning of March.
Makes a lot of sense to maybe wait because, yeah, I want
Absolutely.
a refreshed version of what I have currently with this thing. The M4 Max, it's pretty good, but, you know, obviously if you're going to make it thinner and lighter, closer to an iPad or a MacBook Air, I'm all for that. So
Yeah.
that's a good story kind of to wedge in there that, yes, there's going to be a refresh for the M5, whether it's M5 Pro and M5 Max or some other naming convention. There's something down the line where consumers may want to hold on for a couple more months beyond March.
100%. Yeah, it's I honestly don't see much of a reason to buy the M5 Pro, MacBook Pro at all, unless you need a laptop right now. Just like wait a couple weeks and get that one, so you have like the latest chipset in it. But if you can wait till like October, November, we're gonna get the redesigned MacBook Pro, which is the one that we've been waiting for the past 5 years.
Also, you're probably gonna see some sales to clear out the stock of M5
More than likely.
regular
Yeah.
MacBook Pros.
That's a very good point. Yeah, and with some boosted trade-in values too from Best Buy and stuff like that.
All right, so tell me about these AirPods Pro 4 that have cameras in them. The first thing that people are going to say when they read it on the shortcut.com, I would say they're going to say, what's the reason I don't need cameras inside my earbuds? I think that's going to be the collective response. Tell us what they're going to do, kind of demystify why we would even want these.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird to have cameras in your ears for sure. There's been a rumor for probably the past year or so that Apple's been working on a pair of AirPods with cameras in them. The cameras are going to just be used for visual intelligence, so they won't be taking pictures of anything like that. They won't be recording secret videos. They're just there for visual intelligence. So that's been like the biggest AI feature that Apple's been pushing because they can kind of get that right with ChatGPT integration. So they want to build that into AirPods so that you can learn about your surroundings without having to point your phone up at something and, you know, do like a Google search or something like that.
I have to say, sometimes when I use visual intelligence, I just don't want to access the camera app and then point my camera at an object and then ask it a question.
Exactly.
So if it's, you know, already pointing at something like whatever's in front of me, I get why that might be useful. I don't use it a lot, but maybe that's the hang up for me, is that I have to go through so many steps to start using visual intelligence. I guess that's kind of useful, but yeah, there's still gonna be a lot of blowback on why there's a camera inside of the AirPods.
There probably will be. There's always blowback with anything, especially with AI nowadays. Everyone's sort of on the I hate AI train. For Apple to build cameras into your AirPods and then be like, oh, but guys, relax, we're not going to record you. It's just for AI. Like it's going to be a little bit tricky, I think, for people to digest. It looks like these are going to be the same AirPods though. Like when it's all said and done, just beyond the new cameras, same sound quality, same noise cancellation, same great battery life. It's going to be like an AirPods Pro 3 camera version, essentially. And they might even just stick to the AirPods Pro 3 naming scheme and just be like, these ones have visual intelligence and these ones do not. And they're probably going to cost about $50 more, I think. So $299 is what we're expecting to see. And they could launch towards the end of the year, probably. That's generally when we get new AirPods, around iPhone time in September. So yeah, it looks like we'll have a couple more months to wait. We'll see how the rumors shake out, though. Maybe they'll do something cool.
I'll say the final thing on the AirPods Pro 3, the current version, one of the best purchases out there. So if you're hesitating on picking it up, do pick it up, because it's one of the better things that you could buy. Significant upgrade over the AirPods Pro 2. And this next story that we're going to go into, Adam, I saw you wrote it today. The Trump T1 smartphone is back with a higher price and improved specs. This thing is allegedly real. The Verge had a really good story. Tell us about this phone that no one thought would exist and still technically doesn't exist.
Yeah, the Trump T1 smartphone, which was revealed last year, has re-emerged from its hiatus. It went AWOL for a second, but you can see The Verge had kind of an exclusive on it. It's still very flashy, very gold, very Donald Trump-esque, with a big America flag on the back, which is
so
absolutely awesome. So good. Couple of things have changed, though. And I actually think it's good things because obviously there was a lot of misinformation surrounding this phone, you could say, but it's undergone some internal design changes and a slight outside design change. As you can see now, it has more of an oval camera bay when before it was square on the original images we got. But it's had a spec boost. So it's now going to be powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 7 series chipset. It's got a 6.8-inch display, 512 gigabytes of internal storage, which can be expanded up to 1 terabyte with an SD card, which is very nice. You get a 5,000 milliamp battery, and the camera is supposed to be 50 megapixels. So it should be good for taking pictures of America, I guess. One other controversial thing, it was $499, but that's now only going to be for early adopters who paid the $100. It sounds like it's going to be a little under $1,000 now instead of the original $500 due to those spec bumps. And then the other thing that was kind of touted about the Trump T1 smartphone was that it was going to be made in America, good old USA. Well, that's not going to really be the case now because according to the Federal Trade Commission, I think it is, that you guys have, for something to be classed as made in America, it has to absolutely everything has to be from America. Now,
Right.
Smartphones, as you guys all know, have a lot of parts from Asia. So it's not happening now. But they have said that the final assembly stage, whatever that entails, will take place in America. So that is good news.
One shocking thing that's good, one shocking thing that's bad, or non-shocker, I would say, is the fact that it's not being made in America. The shocking thing that I actually like is that it supports a micro SD card, as you put in there. Like the 512 gigabytes of storage is only going to get you so far if you're, an early adopter. I don't know who this is for. It's not exactly for the early adopter, but it's for someone who wants the novelty of owning this phone and, pre-ordered it on a whim, put their $100 down. But the micro SD card slot is something that we don't see in any flagship phone. Haven't seen it in several years. Yeah. So that is a big deal. A 5,000 milliamp battery, not bad. That's like, on the higher end of the capacities. And 50 megapixel camera, that can mean anything. We don't know what that means. The design changing on the back is either good or bad, depending on if they were taking off the shelf parts, which I'm sure this phone is all about that. Just to get it out there. But the fact that it exists after all this time, The Verge got the exclusive Dominic Preston over there, is just fascinating that this is at the stage it's at. And I thought it was going to be vaporware.
Yeah. I really want them to go just so hard on the whole Donald Trump theme. I want it to have the YMCA as a ringtone. I want you to be able to have like custom message tones, like you get an iMessage, well, not iMessage, you get a message off WhatsApp or something, it just goes China, something like that. That would just, I would try and get one just for stuff like that.
It's a parody phone. That's what it is. It's like built out of an SNL meme. But no word on pricing, right?
No, well, it was going to be $599, but now that is for early adopters who have paid the $100, so they'll still get it for $599. So it could get a bit of a steal, actually. That's locked in, apparently. Mm-hmm. But the actual price, no, it's not been set yet, but it is expected to be under $1,000.
Mm-hmm. Jose says, I'll definitely go with the S26 Ultra instead, LOL. You know what? I don't play. That's probably the safer bet. One, we know that phone is going to actually come out when you pre-order it. And two, it's going to have the better specs. So the S26 Ultra from Samsung, probably going to be announced on February 25th. That's the rumor, at least. Samsung still hasn't confirmed it. We're getting late into the game for them to announce their Unpacked event, but that's what all the rumors say. And better choice among the phones. And yes, it comes from Korea, but you know what? This phone is probably also, a lot of parts made in China. So
I was going to say, it also has a waterfall display, which is also another crazy callback to like Samsung Galaxy Note 20. I actually went on a quick Google search to see if that 6.78-inch screen matched another Samsung phone, because it looks like a straight up Samsung phone just revived.
Definitely off the shelf parts, right? A lot of mismatches of what was available, like 2-3 years ago, to get down to that price. Because, you know, the chipset, the storage, the display all come from other phones that have existed. They're not inventing the wheel here. So it's going to be very interesting to see when and if this launches. And it's a steal if you pre-ordered it and you have that locked in price.
I have a feeling that this is the LG Velvet, but with
Look at it, so good.
a Trump like skin on top of it.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you guys remember that phone. That phone was so bad, but it had, I'm pretty sure it had the waterfall display. It had a Snapdragon 7 series chip, or just like whatever tier they were shipping at the time, when they were like, oh, you don't need a flagship chip to have like flagship performance. It was like their first one. Chip sucked. Battery life was terrible. Cameras were really bad. But every time I see this Trump phone, I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure this is just the Velvet all over again.
The camera design looks the same, so you might not be very far off in terms of that's just what they're slapping their logos on. So we will see. Hopefully there's more updates soon, because we haven't heard a lot from this phone in a while. What the moment everybody's been waiting for is the next story: PS6 rumors and the next gen PlayStation handheld potentially could be releasing soon. Adam, tell us what the rumors say. It's been a while since we've heard some concrete rumors about these two PlayStation products, next generation of PlayStation, just both console and handheld.
Yeah, we're definitely entering rumor mill season now for the next PlayStation. We'd expect leaks and predictions, and I've seen it, folks, coming out of forums quick and fast. But the latest rumor is actually from quite a reliable source. Is a tech leak called Kepler L2. And the rumor is basically Sony's going to go big on memory for the PS6 and the PlayStation handheld, which we're calling the PSP2, which would be awesome if they called it that. But technically, they released the PlayStation Vita, so it might have a different name. The PS6 will have apparently 30 gigabytes of GDDR7 memory, and that's quite a lot more than the PS5, which currently has 16 gigs. You also have to remember that with consoles, developers don't get access to all that precious memory because they have to reserve some for the operating system. I think the PS5, for example, developers only have 12.5 gigs to work with. So if you're putting 30 gigabytes of faster memory in the PS6, it means there's going to be a lot more for developers to play with, and that should hopefully create better looking and better running games. PlayStation handheld, or the PSP2, will have 24 gigs of LPDDR5X memory, which is the same as you can find in the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X. Bear in mind that handheld costs over $1,000, and it kind of gives you an indication of how much a dedicated actual PlayStation Portable could cost. To fit the memory into the console, because obviously that's a lot of memory for something which is supposed to fit under your TV, Sony is reportedly going to opt for a 3 gigabyte memory modules arranged in like a clamshell configuration. But 30 gigs of memory suggests to me as well, a bit like the handheld, that the PS6 is not going to be cheap. And seeing that this is the only generation we've ever had where consoles have released and gone up in price instead of down in price over the years, yeah, it's going to probably cost more than $499 at launch.
Yeah,
here's some terrible images, sorry, that I mocked up on I told Grok to make me something, and they're hideous, aren't they? They're absolutely hideous, but they look futuristic.
Kind of into this weird boombox 4-wheel car RC thing.
Yeah, I like that one. I mean, Johnny Ive probably wouldn't approve of these, but they've got potential. I like the translucent plastic on the right-hand side as well.
Right. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with the design. The PS5 is such a monster of a console, right? And it hasn't really shrunk, even with the PS5 Pro. So we'll see where like a gaming console fits into the scheme of being underneath a TV. Like the Steam machine that's coming out and got a little bit delayed just has a completely different take. So we'll see what the design holds. They probably won't look like those renders, those generated images, but we had to have a placeholder to show you something to kind of like, reference as we talk about these rumors. But it'll be interesting to see what the timing is just because last week there was speculation that it might not come out in 2027. It might be more of a 2028 thing, especially if it launches, the PS6 launches alongside a PlayStation handheld. And Adam, your point about the heavy duty RAM inside the console suggests that, yeah, it's going to be expensive because we're going through this like RAM surge right now, even when building a PC.
Yep. Yeah, thanks to AI going crazy and data centers, RAM and memory is just being snapped up by all these companies. And it's the reason why everything's costing an incredible amount of money. I think we did a story on the shortcut the other day as well that NVIDIA reportedly might not release their next level of graphics card. I think you guys spoke on the show about it.
Yeah.
It's all having a huge knock-on effect. And yeah, if the PS6 is rocking 30 gigabytes of high-end fast speed memory, they're going to want to push that back as much as they can so it's affordable. I think one of the comments there from Jose said he'd pay $600 for it, but I mean the PS5 Pro $750 as it stands.
Yeah.
It could shape like what the new kind of like entry price for a console is expected to be, because it's been blown out the water now. The magic figure used to be like $399 or $299, and then it go down, and then we're at $499, and now we're at $550, and it's getting very expensive to be a console gamer. But Sony's made the most money it's ever made this generation, so they're not complaining.
I've never understood how all these consoles have always been like so far under $1,000. I feel like this is going to be the one that like breaks that barrier. That everybody's going to be like, oh, we can charge $1,000 for ours. I mean, why not? They're doing it.
Yeah, consoles were always such a good investment, and the reason they've always remained popular is because, like you say, you could get them at a really, decent price, but you knew that console was going to last 5, potentially 8 years if you really want to stick with something. That's unheard of if you're building like a gaming PC and you're into the hardware
100%.
addiction that most of us get. Whereas like even me, I was looking the other day replacing my case just because I wanted a white case. I saw Logitech, they had all these lovely white PCs. I was like, oh, maybe I can do that for like $100 or something. But yeah, it's just not looking like it's going to go that way. And even rumors of GTA 6, being the first $80 game, or potentially not $80, sorry, Nintendo did that, believe it or not. The first $100 game, that could happen. I mean, if anyone else can do it, they can do it. I mean, Nate here says he'd pay $1,000 if the specs match the price. That's, fair enough, but consoles still need to like have that mass appeal to parents to. I don't know if they can get away with charging $1,000, maybe for a revision model later down the line. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting.
For $1,000, you better play 4K 120 without like any
minimum,
any
no upscaling,
or,
nothing.
I wonder if Microsoft was onto something, despite it being a bust, having 2 different versions of the console. So, Adam, like you mentioned, it has to appeal to the parents out there, but at the same time, people, like our last commenter, what was that? Was that Nate? Nate was saying, I want the specs to match the price. Maybe there's a higher tier luxury level where it does, actual 8K versus one that does 4K, and it's downsampled a little bit. If there's 2 different prices in there, kind of like we see with an iPhone, right? You get the iPhone 17, they get to advertise that as $799, but then there's a Pro Max version that's going to cost you well over $1,000. I think gaming really hasn't done that on the console front. Microsoft dabbled in that, but then they had to kind of make the games compatible with a lower spec version, which ate up developer time. So there's pros and cons to that approach, but we could see that with what Sony's launching, especially if they're coming out with a handheld that does have to be kind of downsampled if it's going to play PS6 games.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Microsoft were onto something. I think the execution wasn't quite right, but the Xbox Series S is the best-selling Xbox Series console. It outsold the high-end version, and I think what really hampered it was maybe there was too much of a gap. Maybe the naming scheme wasn't great. Maybe it just wasn't as powerful enough. I mean, it was lacking. Speaking of memory, it was lacking of memory compared to the Xbox One X, which gave it a couple of problems. But I remember when it was originally announced, saying to myself, I don't need this Series X. I'm just going to get the S. The S does everything I need. It did 120 FPS. It had all the modern day features, and it was super cheap. And it's a gorgeous looking console. It's still so small and nice compared to the other ones, which are just beasts. I mean, the Series X is nice, to be fair. It's just a cube, but I hate the PS5 design. I hated it from the moment they showed it off. It's big, it's ugly, it's alien-like.
Mm.
Even when they made it slimmer, I still, like you said, Matt, they haven't done it enough. And yeah, I think it can't get any worse than that, because I'm not buying a console which is just this big, gigantic box. Because you can't, where are you going to put this thing? They need more airflow than ever. They take more power than ever. And it's like, well, I can't physically fit that in.
I remember when this new console generation started, it was like, well, shit, I gotta buy a new new home entertainment stand or something. And I'm like, what are these shapes? What is airflow? Yeah.
Mine does not fit upright in certain, of the home entertainment consoles that I've had over the years. So I totally get that. Let's go to our next story, because we'll have tons of PS6 content on theshortcut.com. We know that there's going to be leaks from now until it actually launches. And we are, like Adam said, in the rumor mill season where we're going to get more and more of that in. So we have a good PSP2 hub and a good PS6 hub where you'll find all the latest information on theshortcut.com. So if you want to support us, subscribe to the #1 consumer tech Substack on the internet. That is theshortcut.com. All right. And our final story is about, you may have watched it yesterday, YouTube TV that held the Super Bowl yesterday, and among other streaming services like Peacock, and I watched it on NBC's own station. A little bit of artifacting there, really depended on your connection. But that was, YouTube TV was one of the top ways to watch the live stream of the Super Bowl. And this week they announced they're going to have new pricing. Max, are we going to be paying more for YouTube TV in the upcoming year?
It looks like we're going to finally be able to start saving money with YouTube TV only if you watch select channels. So like if you only want sports, if you only want sports and news, there are now new ways to like save a couple bucks a month, which is always welcome news. YouTube TV costs $82.99 a month on its own. It's gone up in price over the past few years a lot because of all the complicated deals that YouTube has to work with content providers. So with these new plans, they have a breakdown in a blog post. They have a new sports plan, which is probably the one that I would get. It's $64.99 a month. That saves you $18 a month right off the bat. For new users, it's going to be even lower at $54.99 a month. And that gets you access to all the major broadcasters, as well as sports networks like FS1, NBC Sports Network, all the ESPN networks, ESPN Unlimited this fall. So it looks like this is going to be the one. If you just want to watch live sports, that's the plan for you. There's also a sports and news plan, which is $71.99 a month, which is still pretty. It's $11 cheaper, a pretty good price, or $56.99 a month if you're a new user. You get all the same sports channels as the main sports plan. Plus, you get some news channels like CNBC, Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, C-SPAN, Bloomberg, and Fox Business. There's a new entertainment plan, which is going to be the way that you can save the most money, $54.99 a month for everybody, or $44.99 a month if you're a new user. This just basically gets you like all of those channels you sort of flip through and just hope like your favorite movie's on at night. So you get like FX, you get Comedy Central, you get Bravo, Paramount, you have Food Network there, you have HGTV. It's $28 less a month than regular YouTube TV. So I feel like this is going to be a good one for a lot of people. And then if you have a family, this is a really neat one: news plus entertainment plus family plan. For $13 less a month, so $69.99 a month, or $59.99 a month for new users. You get all of the entertainment channels like Fox, Bravo, Comedy Central. Plus you get Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, National Geographic, Cartoon Network, PBS Kids, like a bunch of like really good family-friendly programming jammed in for a lower price. So if you are okay with losing out on a few channels that you're just not watching, there's a better package in there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, you're saving money, but they're kind of paring down the options to specific things, kind of like cable packages from like decades ago when they started doing that. You're getting certain packages and not other stations. So they're kind of siloing things a little bit so that you're not paying $83 a month for the total main YouTube TV plan. Yeah, it's interesting. Like the news package appeals to me. So I guess news and sports, but I would still be paying $72 a month, and or $56.99 a month for new users. I think I qualify as that because I'm able to start a free trial if I wanted to. They've forgotten about me from 4 or 5 years ago when this first came out.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, if you're in the market for that, you may still qualify as a new user based on that little bit of research that I've done, where I kind of dance around, do I really want Sunday Ticket or not? And usually I'm just like, I found a different way to stream it. So definitely interesting to see them break down their pricing, because YouTube gets charged by the networks and a lot of money. And sometimes they're in the carrier contract dispute. I think one of the most recent ones was with Disney, where they got rid of ABC and a bunch of Disney channels just because there was this back and forth where Disney wanted to charge them more money. YouTube said no. So they're in this stalemate. The people who suffer are the people who went 2 weeks without ABC and ESPN programming. So it's been interesting to see how they're getting around these surcharges from the carriers, from the networks, and before passing it off to you, because if it becomes too much money to spend, which YouTube TV is expensive already, then they have to come up with these other strategies and other plans. And this seems like a different strategy for paring down pricing while still maintaining that $82.99 price for everything.
Yeah, it's way smarter that way. It makes expensive cable on the internet a little bit less expensive, right? Like it's so funny how streaming has just become cable, but you need an internet connection instead of a coax cable now. That's all that this is, but it's still nice that they are trying to figure out how to make it more accessible for people, and not everybody wants all of the channels that YouTube TV has. There's a lot of content there, but like if you're just paying like close to $100 a month for like stuff you're not going to watch, you may as well just trim down your package to something with that focuses on more of your taste, which is like, you have sports, you have the news package, which I think is pretty cool. And obviously the family plan, which will be great for, new families and stuff like that.
Very cool. Yeah. I think the thing that streaming can't replicate, because you can get movies in a lot of different places these days, but sports and news, that plan makes the most sense because it's breaking. It happens in real time. And unless you're tuning into the shortcut.com, you're not getting that for free in many places for your cable news channels, your sports packages, because there's a lot of restrictions there. So it makes a lot of sense for that $72 a month plan. You're saving, a little over $10 compared to the old stuff if you pare down some of those extras that you technically don't need. So very cool to see. Max, are you going to subscribe or pare down your plan?
So I had YouTube TV for a while. I have Spectrum now because I just went with cable when I moved into my new apartment.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube TV's it's a very good service. I have no issue with it just beyond the price. Plus, like, I don't know that I trust Google to keep up with all these deals so that I don't lose my channels, even when I'm giving them all my money every month. That seems to happen more often than I would like. Like there was one time in I think it was November. It was during their big dispute with Disney, and you couldn't watch the Eagles game on like their stream. And I was like, what the hell? Like I can't watch football this weekend because you guys are in a hissy fit. Like this is insane. I paid you money so I could watch this game. So I don't like, that's my only grievance with it. I don't know that I would subscribe necessarily because I already have Spectrum, but I think, if there's some major sporting event or something that I don't get that YouTube TV has made available on their sports package, I might get that. I feel like that's, probably a decent compromise.
Absolutely. Well, that is our hour-long show for today. I want to thank everybody who tuned in from YouTube, X, Instagram, Substack, left comments for us. We got Randy, we got Zach, we got Roger, we got Duke, we got Jose, we got Danielle, we got Nate, all of you who've tuned in and commented or just joined, because we see the joins in there. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for being a part of this. And yeah, I think the guys earned a couple dollars today. I know everybody's tired from watching that Super Bowl, but we made it through another day, episode 19. Guys, how you feeling?
Pretty relieved, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a
All
great
right.
show, though.
Nice comments.
Yeah.
I think
Right. The comments were good. The comments are always getting better too.
Comments
Yeah,
are getting better. We're getting more of them, which means more dollars in our pocket, which means I can afford
I have a
lunch.
guy.
today.
Right.
Joe
You think-
Bonanno says, I have a guy for the Trump voice for the phone.
You don't need a guy. You have me.
Samuel
right
Jacob.
Oh my God.
It's almost too good. Jose says 2 comments. Definitely checking it out. So you don't have to pay for Prime, Disney, Netflix, and no more, as per the YouTube comment, YouTube TV. And then have a good one, guys. Thanks for all the new good info. We're your source for consumer technology, the #1 consumer tech site on Substack. Go subscribe if you want to support us, and check us out daily, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. We're live every day. Thanks to the Launch Live Now team for running everything behind the scenes. And we will see you in 23 hours. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Part of my chair fell off.
Good job, Kevin.